and welcome back to this week's episode of the Broken Kid Podcast. Today, with all the hype, even after it's been 3 months, quite frankly, almost 3 months of the F1 movie, we're still going to talk about Brad Pitt. The world is still going to talk about Brad Pitt. In the midst of stumbling across his new content and art that he's made with the F1 movie, what's going to happen by nature is some of that old stuff is going to be thrown into that whirlpool. And some of the things that I discovered, everybody knows whatever. I'm not here to shame anyone, but actually, the thing that's the funniest, and it's interesting how actors twist the narrative to fit their fucking life. But anyhow, as I was reading it right here on the paper, it says that Brad Pitt has face blindness. Now, if you are wondering what that is, it's what you would think if you took it by literal terms. He is face blind. He cannot remember faces. Now, if you think that's quite fitting for a man who openly was an alcoholic, a raging alcoholic, was not the best at times, because that's part of being a human, no one is all good or all bad, and I don't think he's I think he's trying to be a better person, but I don't know the guy, so I can't really speak on that behalf. But what I can speak is how interesting it is that he doesn't remember faces when he goes to parties, faces when he goes to clubs, faces when he goes to show up to court and not remember to pay his child support. All of this is almost like him saying F you to everyone. Now, this came out like a few years ago, probably like 5 or 8 years ago. But I just think it's quite fitting and quite interesting that of all the things he could suffer from, like maybe genital herpes in general, STDs of all sorts, he gets face blindness. And, it's interesting because that way he doesn't have to remember who he hooked up with or who he cheated on his wife with. Or he doesn't have. It makes it easier to divorce your kid and wife when you don't remember their face as much, right? Now, the other thing that I found interesting was how he talks about how he's aloof, or how people mistake him for being this mysterious man. When has he never not been mysterious? This man is one of the most charming men up there. I mean, when you're talking about like top 5 charming people, you're talking about Brad Pitt. You're talking about Ryan Reynolds, maybe Jake Gyllenhaal. Who else might come to? Walton Goggins. All these people. Chris Hemsworth, not the less famous Hemsworth, the lesser known one, but of course he's aloof. I mean, a lot of his characters are so cool and badass and inspiration. But I'm not gonna make the cheap claim that all his characters are the same, because I don't think that's true, and I think he puts more effort than that. But I just thought it was so interesting that he has face blindness, because I went on a date the other day, and I wish I suffered from face blindness, because we met online, and it was through like a dating app, and it was all supposed to be pure, but it was just interesting because she looked all right. She didn't look hideous, but then she says one of like her lines for the closing line, which was like, "Oh, I'll meet you at the place. I'll meet you where we're meeting up." That place was my house, which was a terrible idea, because I thought I was going to get robbed and something else, and then drugged and beat up. I thought I was going to wake up to find my Xbox stolen. It's an Xbox Series S, so it's not that expensive. But still, it's a reliable console for the most part, yeah. It sounds like it's like a jet engine, but it's reliable. But I wish I had face blindness then, because when I first saw her, Lord, I thought she was a 7 based on her pictures. Now that's misogynistic. I don't care. I thought she was a 7. And I thought, well, after you said what you just said, in person, you better be close to the pictures. And the whole time I was kind of like this. It felt like I was in a room with like a sex offender while being an underage boy, which is a true story, actually. I was like this the whole time, standoffish.